All things Mariners is Josh Maduell, and you can find him on Twitter at Josh Maduell. How you doing, Josh?
I am good, Terry. Thanks for having me. Dave, thanks for having me as well.
Hey, welcome back, buddy. I'm glad you could make it.
Yeah. Thank you.
So go ahead, Dave. Why don't we just dive right into it?
Yeah, sure. So, last time we spoke, we had a 4-game set, and we were all, putting the homer side away from it. We all pretty much said it's probably going to be a split. We said, Price, King Felix, we got that one. Paxton, Porcello, you guys got that one. And then we'll figure out game 3 and 4. Obviously, the pitching line didn't go the way we thought. Felix had a great game. Paxton had an awful game. And then the Red Sox just couldn't hit. Leak had the game of his career almost. But, we split that series with you guys. And then you guys get swept by the Yankees. And now you have us again where we could have taken 3 or 4 out of that game, that series, just like you guys could have taken 3 out of 4. But, it could have bounced the other way as well. How do you feel about the state of the Mariners now? How do you feel about the trade deadline from the last time we spoke? Is it different? Is there a need for a bat? Is there a need for, an arm somewhere? How do you just feel about the Mariners and your shot at the playoffs and now your approach going into this 3-game set and the trade deadline?
So that, you never want to get swept, especially when you're right behind the team that swept you in terms of games won. I really think that, I just hope this is a temporary glitch because, it's a 4-game losing streak. And of course, if we go on to make the playoffs, all this anxiety about fading away would have been in hindsight. But, getting swept, it definitely exploited us. And it's got me a little nervous because we have 3 more against you guys. We have the Angels next month. So it actually kind of brought back some fan trauma from every past Mariners year where we are up by a lot and everything's clicking and our hitting is scoring just enough runs. And then someone like our setup guy, Alex Colomé, just blows it. And, it's just devastating and it breaks fans' hearts. I was talking with my Soto Mojo colleagues. We were stunned. That was a game that we should have won last night, up 5-0, lose by 2. So I'm actually a bit nervous as a fan because the Angels, if they win tonight, they'll be 6.5 behind. No, they'll be 6 behind us for the second wild card. And in mid-June, that's not a lot. So in terms of trade needs, to answer your next question, I think we need second base we're set, first base we're set. I really think we need another center fielder since we acquired Denard Span, of course, to play left. Mitch Haniger is well set and right, but I think we need another center fielder just to take some of that young guy edge off of Heredia, who is great, but he still needs more experience. So I would say center fielder. And I do think, though, in terms of a bat, we have a reputation for acquiring on the cheap, and acquiring guys who are just okay and who have just been okay. But I really think now, especially since Robbie's out for a while, we need another intimidating bat that is not just Nelson Cruz, because Seager's not intimidating. Kyle's not, I should say. Corey is. Mitch Haniger is, but he still needs time. So does Segura. And then D. Gordon, he's a great hitter, but he's more like Ichiro. He is not a guy who opposing pitchers sweat when he comes up. He's a contact, gritty kind of guy, but he's not another power hitter. And right now, Nelly's the only power hitter we have at a cleanup. So he needs help. And so it sounds like, I for sure think we need a power hitting center fielder. I can't think of many, but who don't have a contract up soon. And what was it, your third question? It was something after that. It was trade needs, and then, I think. But yeah. We power back. Yeah.
Yeah, how you think you're gonna, you kind of just all wrapped it up into one there. But, Terry and I were just talking, before, and we were just thinking, like, man, like, it could have went bad for the Sox if we lost 3 or 4 from Seattle and got swept today by the Twins. We'd be in a little more panic mode if we had 46 wins instead of 50 right now. And that's just kind of where Seattle is. Well, exactly, actually. Seattle has 46 wins. So that's what basically I was wondering what about there. But it makes sense. I think you guys definitely need a bat. I think Colom, whatever, I think he's going to calm down. But, man, is he shaky.
We definitely smacked him around pretty good when he was still with Tampa.
Yeah, the AL East has his number. Just avoid the AL East and you'll be okay.
And what, I for sure agree. I think he'll be fine too. And actually, what was encouraging is that, except for last night, we've been winning despite his struggles. So, I mean, if he gets hot, that is going to be great. I just think what really opened up my eyes about, this guy's very vulnerable. He's is when we had a 5-1 lead against the Rays. He was making his first Tampa Bay return. He had a 5-1 lead, bottom ninth, 2 outs, bases juiced, and he gave up a 3-run double to make it 5-4. And he only did not blow a non-save opportunity, essentially, because of a great play by Seager. That for sure could have gone either way. It could have, it could have bounced the other way, but he just timed it great. So, no, I for sure agree. I think that he will come around. And, yes, once again, better that he struggle while his team's doing well. It's just the Angels, they're just still really close. They are too close to us. And right now, what worries me in terms of the state of our team is that we're clearly the 4th best team out of you guys, us, Astros, and Yankees, at least now, and in terms of wins. And so I think that we will make the playoffs, but I mean, if the Astros, if they keep it up, the AL West is theirs. And what's really annoying as a fan too is that we were a game ahead of them in the West for frickin' 3 weeks, it seemed like, and we could not get more than a game ahead of them. And the second that they leapfrog us, the second that they do that, they're now 3.5 up. So it's just really, I mean, we just can't catch a break. I mean, they just would not go away. I kept telling my friends, I just said, they just will not get off our tail. And the second that they jump out in front, they are building up a steady lead. So if we go 4.5, if we start to get like 5.5 games behind them, 6.5 behind them, we for sure better start thinking about wild card and wild card only. So, but I do think we will make the playoffs. You guys hate hearing this being Sox fans, but we're still only, I think, 3.5 behind you guys for the top wild card spot. But I mean, I just don't, I never thought I'd say this, but I would rather, if we are wild card at the end of this year, I would rather it be second wild card, because we have such a history of not being able to score consistently at Safeco for some gosh darn reason. But
because all the die in the outfield there.
Yeah, it's true. And so on the road, we just seem more comfortable, and I only see us ever have explosive innings, like 4-run, 5-run innings away from Safeco, which is not the way it should be, but it is. But I think that we'll be okay. It's a rough patch. I in terms of our upcoming series, I would give you guys that series finale. I mean, Chris Sale, it's like Goliath facing David. We just do not do well against great pitchers. And so if we want to win the series, we basically have to take Fridays and Saturdays games, because we will not win the Sale game. It's just,
well, you might though, because our bats just don't seem to show up with him. I mean, we're a 500 team when he starts, so it just depends on a lot of things. And we have a lot in common, probably more than you realize here. We have 2 superpowers at the top of each of our divisions that on paper look like they're probably going to win the divisions. And then coming into this series specifically, we're slumping, you're slumping, so someone's going to be really miserable after Sunday night.
Be really super fun Sunday night.
Yeah, right. And I think you guys are 6.5 ahead of the Angels. So, I mean, as long as you guys don't just fall off a cliff in terms of performance, I guess what I'm trying to say is you guys can only beat yourselves in that race at this point because yeah, well, the Angels are a pretty bad organization, all the way around. And
oh yeah, I don't think the Angels are going to catch you guys in Seattle. To be completely honest, I think it is yours to lose for sure.
Maybe the Twins. That's the only team I could see getting hot and going on a disgusting run. And I don't know that that's even likely, but I think that's the only team that's capable of it. We know Detroit isn't. We know the Angels aren't. The A's are interesting. They're 2 games above 500, but come on, you're 8 games ahead of them. And nobody else in the AL East is underneath Boston is gonna come back. I mean, Toronto's in 3rd, 5 games under 500. So literally, you can only beat yourself.
Yeah, and that that is great to hear, being a Mariners fan, that something is ours to lose, because as I recall last year, it didn't help that I joked that we basically jump-started the Astros. We were their first opponent of the year. They beat us 3-1 in that series, and they never looked back. And I had high hopes for that 2017 Mariners squad, but they never got it together. And we just kept playing catch-up because of that 0-6 or 7 start. So now, what is great about a hot start like us, like for example you guys, is that you can more afford to struggle. So yes, we've lost 4 in a row, but we're still 17 over at the end of the day. And I just think what scares me about the Angels, I mean, we have better pitching in both starting and bullpen, but they just, when we play Trout, yes, he's just one guy, and we swept them despite so, but we just cannot get him out. He's
nobody
good.
can.
Right. And how well he hit against us in that 3-game sweep, we are lucky because no one's that good. He has a 667 average at Safeco this year. Even against the Royals or against the Rays, they still got him out. But no, yeah, I do think you guys are right. I think the Halos have, they are not a great organization. And actually, if I'm Trout, I'm feeling kind of hungry for some contention because he is the best active player. And it's just for me, we need to keep on winning series. I wouldn't have minded if we had, just lost 2 out of 3 to the Yankees, but a sweep that can do damage, and especially since we were not too far behind them. Although I guess it doesn't really matter now because they're the current East leader. But it's just we this upcoming Fenway series, huge, because if we can just win 2 out of 3, we're I think a game and a half behind first wild card. I never feel great about having the home team play at Fenway. It's a really tough place to win, but you just never know. But no, I would have to agree. We are going to the playoffs, but it's just that being swept by your fellow juggernaut is just never good, and especially how we lost that middle game. I don't know. It was tough, but you just go on. So it should be good.
We just hate their guts, and that translates to automatically a few more hits per game. It just does wonders. But yeah, I mean, like I said, actually, let's just go through the pitching matchups right now. It's I think 2 of them are exact rematches. Wade LeBlanc is up against Stephen Wright. I know that was definitely that was a matchup from last time, and I hope after tonight we don't have to see Wade LeBlanc for a really long time. That was disgusting. And we were Dave and I were talking about it. Every time we go to the West Coast, we run into a young pitcher who pitches the game of his life, because LeBlanc did it, and then we had Manaea with the Angels no-hit us for the first time since 1993 or something like that. And